I built an entire village for my Valheim community server. My goal for this project was to create a functional village that I could use as the foundation for my next community server reset. At this point in the game's development, the Ashlands biome will be the next big update, and in anticipation for this, I wanted to create a starting area where players have access to all the early game items and workstations, such as cauldrons, fermenters, and portals. I will make the world file available for free, so if you would like your own copy of the world for personal use, make sure to join my Discord server using the invite link in the description and like the video to appease the YouTube algorithm. With all that said, let's get into the video. I wanted to start this video at the boat dock because it's the first building that I actually made for the village, and I think it makes sense to start from the back and work towards the sacrificial stones that this village is built around. So as you can see, it's mainly made of dark wood and stone, and that's just because I don't want any of the items damaged from the rain if they don't have a roof above them, or just from the water from being next to the coast. A lot of you will already know this, but the rain and the damage from the waves, for example, won't actually destroy your standard wood pieces, but it will reduce the health to 50%. So the boat dock actually has, I guess you could call it, two docks that both fit a longship each. At the side of the boat dock, you'll also have space for a longship on either side. When it comes to this boat dock and just generally building over water, I do have one building tip to help get these sort of arches underneath to work as foundations so that you can build on top of it. What you want to do is start off with a stone ball 2x1 or a 4x2 works just as well. And then I like to use any of the 4-meter beams, so you can use the core wood ones, or you can just use two of the wood beam 2 meters. You're going to go 2 out and then come down 1, and this is going to work as a snap point for your 4x2 wall. From here you can use these stone arches and fill in the space like this. You can get rid of the wood beams so that you're not wasting wood at this point, and then you'll just be doing the exact same thing until you build out as far as you need to. If you're building quite far out, you might end up getting to a point where the stone wall is no longer supported by the floor. What you want to do here is make use of the wood pole 2 meters. You're going to lock it down the way, and then you're going to lock on to the bottom edge of the beam. From here you can then place another one on top, and this will allow you to get into pretty deep water fairly easily. Once you've got this foundation in place, you can of course just place in some stone stairs, go up to whatever level you need to, and then some stone floors on top. And just using that simple building technique, you can build pretty much whatever you want over water and build a nice arch detail for things like bridges and boat docks. At the front of the boat dock, I've got 4 hearths, which is probably a little bit overkill, but it does mean that you can keep a fire going and get rid of the wet debuff. After coming out of the boat dock, you'll see this watchtower on the right hand side, and this is an adaptation from a watchtower I made probably around 2 years ago, which I do have a build guide on. But it's really simple, using some core wood elements for the supports, and of course I'm using dark wood along the outside so that they don't take any rain damage, since these pieces aren't actually covered from the roof. Up top I've got a ballista targeting just trolls, because I don't want any trolls to come and break up the village, because that would just be a complete nightmare for everyone. But all the other raids, I'm not really too concerned if they want to come and cause a bit of havoc, because they can't really do too much damage to the builds themselves. So moving up towards the village now, after the boat dock area you'll be met with a choice either to go up this pathway to what's signposted as the village, or across this bridge, this Warren Trust bridge, which also makes use of the same feature that the boat dock does. I'm going to go up towards the village, and this is just a really simple pathway that I made with some dark wood and some carved wood dividers. And once you reach the top, you'll see 2 windmills that you can use for flour and, you know, making some better quality food. And you also see this hunter's shack. Inside it's actually a really simple design. Players would probably use this only for this spinning wheel here. But it does give you a little bit of comfort in here. It's just supposed to be designed as a hunter's shack and add a little bit of realism to the world. Got some storage here, and outside through the window you'll see there we have a small farm which will allow players to, you know, make some better food whilst they're getting started on the game. And we've got a couple of boars here as well. So moving out through this double gated entry exit system, you'll see this building here, which I've named as a comfort space. So I have made maximum comfort available to players from the start within this little village here. Any of the 4 seats in the middle here should give a maximum comfort level of 18, giving the players a rested buff of 25 minutes. Here you also have access to some cooking stations and a maximum level cauldron. and there is some sort of things like hidden hot tub and dragon bed up top. So leaving the maximum comfort space and going to the left, we have this portal hub. If you've ever seen my other videos, you may be familiar with this build already. This is probably an exact replica of a build I've done previously. It's probably the only exact replica that I've done within this world of my previous builds. So this is a small portal hub. I know it's not, maybe doesn't have as many portals as players would like. It's not really supposed to be a be all and end all of portals. So I've set this up for just the boss fights right now. We've got the Elder, Bone Mass, all the rest of them. And around here, when Ashlands releases, we have a to be confirmed portal for the Ashlands boss. Again, using darkwood pieces for any unsheltered areas so that we don't take damage. So leaving the portal hub, we have another watchtower just on this hill here, and a little area with a campfire just to add, again, a little bit of realism into this village. I don't really have much to say from up here, but I think it's a pretty good view. Another thing that I've tried to do in this world is make dirt in sort of what I imagine to be natural paths that people would take in this village. So for example, this is all dirt down here rather than grass because it's a kind of natural shortcut that people might take if they're familiar with this village. Before I show you the rest of the village, let me tell you about this video's sponsor, GPORTAL. GPORTAL provide industry-leading dedicated servers for over 100 games including Ark, Farming Simulator, Minecraft and Valheim. When I first discovered them, I had never set up my own server before, and I found their platform really easy to navigate. It only took me around 5 minutes from start to finish to get my community server up and running. The best part about their servers is that they allow you to create your own server configuration, depending on how long you need the server and how many players you need to support, meaning you never pay for more than what you need. If you're interested, you can save 10% by using my referral link, which you can find in the video description or on my channel. Coming up from the other side of the bridge, we have a couple of cabins here. Now we might actually add a few more, but right now we've got 2 cabins with 2 rooms in each. These are really basic on the inside, but the outside has this nice, I guess, like porch area, which is a technique that I've just picked up recently. So you can see here we've got the beams underneath, and of course you can just hold shift and sort of manually place them, but I really hate to do that in my builds, so I almost never do it. Instead what we've got here is, say, a small pole. Then we have a wood floor on top, and what I'm going to do is make use of the log beams in order to create snapping points for myself. So with the log beams, they're actually the only ones that naturally stack directly on top of each other. So from here we can create something like this, then get rid of the log beams, and these actually support each other despite not actually touching within the game. It's really good use for things like banisters and porches and things like that. It can also just be made as quite a nice detail in different builds. And by the time you've added in all the other wood beams and the wood poles, you can end up with a little sort of platform thing like this, or as you can see on a slightly bigger scale, I've made this porch on the cabins here. I will also show you inside these little cabins, although there's not an awful lot inside. We've got a dragon bed, but these little spaces are basically just for players who aren't particularly feeling inclined to build up their own base. They can come in here, set up some storage and stuff, and have a little space of their own without sort of investing too much time into the building. This might be suited for players that just want to go and, you know, explore Ashlands when it first releases and just get up to pace with what the new updates have to offer. What's really nice about this is I've got this little hanging brazier outside that you can reach from inside either of the rooms, so you can reach it from this side of the wall or through the other side, and this is going to act as a fire to allow you to sleep. So heading back out now, we can go between the cabins into another watchtower here, which is going to be looking over the cabins, because what we don't want is one player existing in the village and then we have a troll attack, and then when these players aren't even signed in, their whole belongings just get ruined for absolutely no reason. Again, we've got a miniature version of the Warren Truss Bridge, and we also have the arch feature underneath, which I typically use in water, but here I've happened to be using it just to span a gap. Moving up now into the centre of the village again, we have this building here, which is actually a blacksmith's. So I'm going to go out from the front here. We have a stone cutter and some decorations. So we've got 3 smelters and 2 charcoal kilns just inside the wall there. And it's actually all walled off in the back as well, so it looks fairly neat considering the kilns and smelters can look quite ugly in a world. I don't really know what a blacksmith's looks like, but we do have a maximum level workbench in here, 2 hearths and a max level forge. We have another cooking station just in case, I don't know, players think that's more convenient there. And this is pretty much everything that should allow players to skip to, you know, the end level of planes and just accelerate that first sort of 10 hours of the game. My aim for this project wasn't really to set players up for life. That's why I haven't included things like an artisan table, no block forge, anything like that. It's really just making use of items from the first couple of biomes, unless it's, you know, like darkwood, for example, is like a plains tier material, but this is just building materials. For all the sort of usable workstations and fermenters, for example, it's all the stuff from the early stages of the game. So we come around here and we see Skalhala, which is just like, I guess, like a tavern sort of thing, of a couple of fermenters outside, and I might actually end up doing the same on this side depending on what the demand's like. But inside we just have a sort of tavern based area with a bunch of fermenters inside that players can use. Got another one under the stairs, and we head upstairs. There's not actually an awful lot going on, it's just kind of decorative, a couple of armor stands, and yeah, really just what you'd expect in the top level of a traditional tavern. One building tip I have picked up, and the only use of black marble in this build, is just for using these Diverger spiral stairs. So these are obviously Mistlands tier, but you know, it's just a set of stairs in the end, at the end of the day. And what you can do here is, since these spiral stairs actually just don't really exactly snap into each other, so it's quite difficult to see, but you'll see there's a bit of an overhang here, and it just makes it a little bit ugly in my opinion. This is actually not too bad as it normally is, but sometimes it can be quite bad. So one tip that I picked up from someone in my Discord server is just that you can cover these up with black marble columns, and it just ends up with a really sort of nice finish on it. And it looks a lot better like this than what it does typically. Obviously this isn't touching the ground because it's got pretty poor strength here, but generally that's a pretty neat trick that just sort of tidies up the look of the spiral staircases. So moving back towards the sacrificial stones, another watchtower on the left hand side of the entrance here, and on the right hand side we have a town store, which is kind of like the storage house design I did years ago, which is really popular, one of my most popular videos, but it's kind of an updated version just with the darkwood pieces. I'm going to be operating this as a give and take area. Inside we have all the walls just absolutely layered with the default wooden chests. Now there's nothing in the chests right this second, but my community is really good on the server. Players that have a lot of time to play, they typically help out those who don't have enough time to play and enable them to sort of keep up to date with the other players by operating a sort of give and take system. So I expect this to fill up fairly quickly when this server goes live. Moving back outside and through the entrance here, a couple of wood gates and this little welcome sign. So that's the village that I built for my community server. If you liked the video and you like the build, please do leave it a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.